Hi guys, I'm so excited to jump on here for a little bit before I get on my calls today. And because it's really important that these things are discussed, right? And whether or not you work with me as a coach or you have a therapist or someone trustworthy that you are expressing your beliefs to, that is a source of encouragement for you. That is a source of empowerment and alignment, all these words that are really, driving forces to enable us to hold a vision that we are encouraged that we can create in this lifetime, what it is we're here to do, what it is we want to create, what is the spiritual side of humanity that is always within us, because it's really beyond our understanding. If you look at life from an energetic perspective, not what we've been told, the culture and the structure that we live in, there's cause in us, right? There's a cause that starts our heartbeat, and that is beyond our realm of understanding. But what we can conceptualize is that this beyond our own understanding is living in us, right? It's making my heart beat very slowly, which I've learned recently. And it's really carrying me along forward into this lifetime. But what is so important to understand is how our mindset and our process of thinking is very influential, easily manipulated in a negative way, but influenced in a good way. If you can look at me as a positive influence in your life, as a positive force in your life, of a loving force, of a force of possibility, of potential, all of these things that are moving you in the direction of where you want to go, and not distracting you, not telling you otherwise, right? Because a lot of times what I want to talk about is, how do we stay in this mindset of acceptance, love, and faith, right? In a world there's a lot of addiction, right? There's a lot of that is invisible. There's also because really there's lack and there's abundance, right? There's two sides of the spectrum, and they both are invisible. But what happens is that the visibility comes into our reality by how we create what we have in this lifetime, what we experience in this lifetime, in like a very tangible way. Like, I have a mug in my hand, full of amazing energetic coffee that's full of supplements from the earth that I need in my bloodstream, right? That I collaborate with this company to help my clients fulfill dreams, right? From within. Good stuff within, good stuff without. We perform at our best when we give ourselves the best. But there's also a thought element to this, right? And so let's come grounded and centered, because I just love to meditate. I just love to hold myself accountable and come into a deeper consciousness and a deeper mindset through breath. So if there's anything that you truly do for yourself today, it's going to be right now. And that's closing our eyelids. If you're driving, if you're multitasking, obviously keep doing what you're doing, but bring your thoughts and your awareness to your breath. Bring your thoughts and your awareness to your being. The air coming in your nostrils and exhaling out your nostrils or your mouth. Inhaling grand and glorious, intentional breath, what we call oxygen, fueling a machine that we call our body, full of energetic cells that are responding to us through our breath, through our thoughts, through our feelings, through what we think about ourselves. And acknowledging and understanding and embodying that how we think is our birthright. That wealth, abundance, prosperity, love, kindness, of the feelings of being carried, of supported, of loved, cherished, and adored in this lifetime are rolling in and out of us unconsciously through our breath. That we're beginning to believe in a dream network, a network of thoughts, like a web of light that we're stepping into through our breath, through our work, through listening, through stillness, and through faith, which is really, really just a thought with an emotion for the good and the glory and the kingdom, the eternal life that we are connecting to during this lifetime. So with one more deep breath in, opening up our chest, opening up our lungs, opening up our freedom, our heart, and exhaling out. Just coming present to this right now here moment, and just being present of perhaps an energetic shift in your body and your mind and your intellect and your ego and your spirit, coming into alignment to really take in some new information, some new possibility. So we're going to talk a little bit about being self-centered, right? Because, we live in a world it is very self-centered, and, no matter what culture you're in, it's a human need. It's a human drive. It's a human, gift to really be self-centered as a child, especially to be born into a body and to grow and to develop and to, become into, this video is created for adults. So whatever age you are, understanding that it's time to take accountability. It's time to be results oriented and not so, attached and fixated and obsessed, right, with the outcome. Because understand, anxiety, depression, all, OCD, whatever diagnosis, mental cognitive reasoning, right? And what's going on mentally, these are all symptoms, right, of taking us out of our spiritual connection to who we are, who we're meant to be, and what we want to feel, create, and act out in this lifetime, what we want to receive, right? Because if I'm anxious, which I have suffered from anxiety in the past, if I am anxious, if I am, nervous about what's happening in my life, what's going on, what's not going to happen, blah, 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 fear, right? I am not in connection with the spiritual intuition that is always giving me gifts and ideas of what is possible for me and what, a spiritual realm wants for me in my lifetime that connects to my heart's deepest desires, right? And those deepest desires that are vibrating in me, they're not built on man-made intellect, right? That there's not enough for me, that I'm in competition, that I have to take from other people, right? That the void that I'm talking about, like when we don't heal, when we, for whatever reason, don't developmentally evolve into someone that is fulfilling themselves from within, right? With all the good nature, all the love, all the joy, all the abundance, all the good that is all around us, that is within us, right? Just through our heartbeat, just through our breath that we breathe in and out, moment to moment, day to day, right? Understanding that connection is what holds us on earth, that we're not floating off into the atmosphere, right? And we forget that, right? We are so ingrained and conditioned into money, into material, into the cars that we drive. Like where I live, you have to get around in a car. We don't have a structure of what am I trying to say? Public transportation that can get us from A to B, or riding a bicycle, like in other cultures where we have a car, right? And so a lot of our identity is based around our car. And I'm not saying don't want a nice car, right? I want a nice car. I have deep materialistic desires as well. I'm human. I'm born into a culture it is flashy, that is, very of self-promotion, of self-centeredness, right? But I want you to understand that there's a difference, right? There's a difference in me that you're feeling me right now giving to you, right? I am giving from a cup overflowing, right? Because my cup is full and I'm giving you from the overflow. But when you get around people, right, that are undeveloped, and it's unfortunate, right? And it's difficult to have compassion for these people, because I don't even want to say these people, individuals that are involved in addiction, that are self-centered, that are vibing from a place of jealousy and envy, of lack, right? There's like an invisible void within us, right? Where if you can look around, like, okay, Catherine's cup is overflowing. She's giving to me from the overflow. When you get around somebody that is in lack, that is in jealousy, that is in all these negative emotions of there's not enough for me, I need to take from other people, there's a facade going on, there's a false self, they're acting out of their intellect, they're acting out of their ego, that is cut off from spirit, that is cut off from this, it's a secular world that we live in, and understand it's set up that way, and that's okay. We poo-poo the antiquated books that are really talking to us about consciousness connection, about higher consciousness. There's the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, dimensions of consciousness, right? Where, and as a child, we're developing, right? But when we achieve self-mastery in adulthood, these are Shakespeare things, to thine own self be true. These thought masteries are bringing us into a higher dimension, where some things get easier, right? And some things get more difficult. When I was in my 20s, I traveled around the world, right? I went where I wanted to go when I wanted to, and I got a job where I went. And now in my consciousness, I've got 5 kids. I've got, responsibilities. I've got commitments now. So it changes my level of consciousness. When I travel, especially if I go internationally, it will be a very different experience for me, especially if I'm going without my children, right? Than when I was in my 20s, carefree and free, and I wanted to go surfing, go kite surfing, go scuba diving, do these more high risk behaviors, where now it's tracking my evolution into being, a higher level of consciousness now, where I really don't want to do that anymore. I'm happy to sit and even skiing. I used to be a daredevil skier. I love skiing and snowboarding, telemark skiing. I lived in Vail, and now I'm like, okay, I will sit in the lodge and I will connect with my clients. I'll sit by the fireplace and write my books, right? I am at a different level of consciousness. And it's understanding that, and being in this mindset. I'm going to talk about how we shell ourselves off now, right? From the resentment, the anger, and the fear, right? Because that is, especially in a market now and a collective community of consciousness, right? Where, for whatever reason, there's a lot of people that don't have jobs, that are in the job market, that are looking for opportunities, right? And if you have this mindset, right, that has perhaps gotten to this place, not having a job, of resentment, anger, and fear, not always, I'm not making a generalization, but if you're in this job market now where you're seeking, you're highly influential, right? You're very vulnerable. And these are times where it's really important to dig in, right? To dig into our mindset and what we really want and what we are really calling into our reality, because it's really an opportunity. It's a lesson, right? All adversity happens for a reason, and it's a lesson, right? And understanding that, where we can either go into victimhood, where it's resentment, anger, and fear, right? And resentment is the past, right? We're holding on to what happened to us in the past, even if it was last night, somebody said something to you that pissed you off. releasing that, whether it's writing an angry letter, whether it's, really addressing how you feel about what someone said to you, and how that activated something in you, and allowing that to be your motivation. If somebody puts me down, I'm going to take it in and say, and flip it around, and I'm going to stew on it for a minute to be like, okay, what they just said is not for me, right? But I am going to really step into a mindset now of shifting that. And it takes work. This didn't come to me naturally. I don't come from a background of like some of my mentors, of being born into a family where law of attraction was part of their upbringing, where they were constantly manifesting, from cause and effect in their own mindset from birth, right? My kids, yes, they're having a different upbringing, but understanding that that is how our mind works. We come from a mind and we are living in a mind, and we can create from that mind depending on what we rely on as our cause and effect. And so if we're relying on resentment, the past, right? Holding us in the past is very, very painful. It's very, very uncomfortable. It causes a pattern. Our thinking creates a pattern in our lives, right? And so if mindset work is new to you, welcome. And if I'm repeating stuff that you already know, just take it as a reminder, right? That heartache is something that, we can move out of, right? But it's really interesting to work with our own mindsets, right? Around what's blocking us from moving forward, right? What thought have we attached to that hurt that we can't move on from that pain, right? And it's really we give away our power. We allow someone else to define us in a painful way. And our mind shuts off from our heart. So we're up in the files of our brain, right? Disconnected from our heart. And that makes the heartache worse. That worsens the feeling, that worsens the resentment. The resentment really hardens into just a hardness, that our guard is up. We're not available for love. We're not available for generosity, for charity, for love, for kindness, all of these things. We're closed off, we're in this lower vibration of maybe even childhood of like, what's in it for me? Or what's everyone's out to get me. The world is against me, and we all know people like that. And maybe we were a person like that, me. I claim that. I own that. I've owned where I've been and where I'm moving in the direction of, right, through my feelings. And understanding that dreams, if you work in dreams, if you look at your dreams, they are very much unconscious tools. I did learn self-hypnosis at a very young age, so I understand what's going on in the subconscious mind is really going to create in our outer reality, okay? So understanding that if we're having feelings in our dreams that are uncomfortable, that's an opportunity to say, okay, what feelings am I having about these dreams, and how are they holding me back or projecting me into the future? I've had dreams where I'm on the stage, I'm winning awards, right? And so I know that my subconscious is working in my favor from those dreams. But if I'm having a dream where I'm stuck in a car and there's scary cats around the car, I know that I am in a different mindset, that I have feelings around something happening in my life that I need to work through, right? That happened to me. I had dreams like that when I moved to a new house as a kid, right? And understanding the fear that was coming up for me of being in a new environment, of feeling unsafe in the unknown, right? Where I was locked in and I could not escape and really feel my feelings and shout to the world, this is how I feel. I'm scared to move into a new big house, right? And so understanding that, a lot of times you can open the car door in that dream and let the cats in, cuddle with the cats, that once we're scary to you, allowing these feline friends to, these imaginary black cats and cougars and tigers and whatever is in your dreams, to allow them to come in, right? And step into the woman now that I'm becoming, that's going to be on stage, it's going to win awards, it's going to accept praise, right? And understanding that that's great. That is greatness, that we deserve what is in our dreams and we deserve to have the best. So it's moving through this past resentment, right? And moving into acceptance. accepting, right? Acceptance is such a great way, a great tool, a great positive thing, right? Negative resentment, positive acceptance, accepting what happened to us in the past, that our heartache happened, that, you know, our breakups perhaps happened in the past, or, you know, we had someone pass away that we loved very much. We lost an opportunity, a job, which I talked about, and allowing our heart to hurt around that, allowing us to have the feels, right? Because we've grown up many times and we're afraid to have those feelings. We're afraid to share our vulnerabilities, right? And so like shutting off our heart, it becomes more intense. I work with clients that have very, very intense feelings, and they're very overwhelming sometimes. And a lot of times it's just historical, right? And it's okay. It's okay to have these strong, angry, negative feelings, and allowing them to come up, because the more we express it all, we can receive it all, right? We have to make room for the positive, for the good, for the greatness that perhaps if that is what we desire in this lifetime. And I have other clients that I work with that just want to be comfortable, right? They want to be comfortable in their reality. They want to live out life in a very comfortable way. So wherever you are, but understanding that resentment, it's time to remove yourself from past pain. And it's very, very possible on a soul level by accepting a new identity, waking up. It's like, I always reference Snow White, waking up from a dream, or Alice in Wonderland, waking up and to a new identity and what's available. If it's allowed to surface, it's allowing this acceptance. It's allowing. And really, when we allow, we really step into the present moment of allowing love, right? And so when we experience anger, like I'm so mad, for example, that somebody said something derogatory to me last night, like, you can't do it, right? That I'm allowing that anger, I'm allowing that to trigger me, to activate something in me, and saying, yeah, that only reflects that another person's vision, right? I don't have to take on that person's vision. I don't have to, what did I say? It's another person's anger. I don't have to allow another person's lack mindset, how they think and feel and act about in their own reality, for themselves, to themselves, as themselves, right? It's only a reflection of their own discouragement, right? And so I can step back into my own mindset and say, dang, I'm going to let that motivate me. I'm going to let that put down that I can't do it. I'm going to show them, right? I'm going to show them. And a lot of times I love rejection, right? Bring it on, because rejection's not real. Rejection, the only thing rejection is clearing the path for something greater, right? And our vibe is our tribe. So if you're dating, for example, and people, you haven't met the one yet, right? That's okay. The clearing of the way, the clearing of the path. I always imagine like my man coming through with a machete and bushwhacking to me, right? Bushwhacking the energy that is not for me, not for my vibe, not in my tribe, just moving it out of the way. And life is short but wide, as one of my Brazilian old friends used to say. We have a short lifespan, but it's wide, right? And allowing that birth, allowing that depth of allowing people into our lives to come and go. And some things, some relationships are seasonal, as one of my mentors teaches, and other ones are lifelong, right? Especially if we're co-parenting, if we're married, if we have children, if we're bringing more people into our family, if we're getting remarried, understanding that allowing lifelong relationships, right? That are not the seasonal ones. So understanding that moving through anger, and whatever belief system you are ascribed to, your thoughts, and I'm not one to tell you how to believe, where your belief system needs to go or needs to be. I'm just straightening my necklace. I'm a little bit of a my personality now, I remember choleric, I think, or it's like I need to have pictures straight, necklaces straight. So if you're like me, it's like, oh my gosh, like toothpaste in the sink. I'm like, I can't have toothpaste stuck in the sink. One of my things, right? I can have a messy desk, but organized chaos, but no toothpaste in the sink. So excuse me for adjusting my necklace, but so a new identity is available to us, and it's time to decide whether or not we're going to return to those patterns of the resentment and anger in the past. But let me tell you, anger is more of a present thing. Like if we're stuck in traffic or we're getting angry, just always remember that leaning back into a level of trust, a mindset of imperfection, that being late is all relative. It's, you can look at time as Newton did, fixed, or we can look at Einstein, like I am the source of time, I create time. It's all up to us. It's all up to our own mindset, right? And so we're working through anger in the present, right, in order to allow love, keeping our heart open, keeping our mindset open to a place of choice, right? We have choice, and congratulations if you're coming into a mindset of choice, because the pain is being taken out of your heart. When you're feeling these intense feelings, when you're feeling the anger, the resentment, you're allowing all these things to come out. You're admitting your truth, right? You're accepting, like, shit happens, right? And I'm not gonna live in that anymore. I'm gonna allow myself to be present in this anger, and I'm allowing, even though I can't see it, the invisible transformation of pain being shed out of my heart, leaking out of my heart. All of my lymph nodes, we're clearing any lack, any block, any guard that we're blocking love in this lifetime, right? And that so that we can provide ourselves a new vision. We can provide ourselves one that will allow a new format for success in this lifetime. So we're clearing the slate, right? And the negative, right? The negative mindset that is so pervasive, that is so common, right, is fear. And so if we're in fear, I've talked about this before, if you're around someone that's very demanding, their opinions are oppressive, like you think this way or you're wrong, those kinds of things, that's demanding, right? And that's a very self-centered, unhealed mindset from childhood, because typically we grow out of that mindset, right? We grow into an accountability where we're going to school, life is school, we're learning to earn money, we're learning to pay our bills, we're learning how, and as women, we've only been doing this for the last several generations, where men have been doing this since the beginning of creation, right? We are more new at this. So if it's taking you a while, if you're getting impatient with yourself and you identify as female, understand that in our genetic DNA, this is us being protectors and providers. It's taking a little bit longer, right? Especially if you identify as feminine, right? Taking on this role of being a protector and provider. I've talked about this before. It's really an evolution of who you're becoming, and then allowing receiving the love, receiving the money, receiving the clients. If you're an entrepreneur, and understanding also the equivalent of getting your dopamine and receiving your dopamine and your norepinephrine and adrenaline in healthy ways, and you're not getting into any addictive mindset behavior around, like, how many hits you're getting on social media, how many likes, and those kinds of things, and really looking at everything as learning, right? And being honest is a really big part of your energy. Being honest, you will attract more honesty into your life, okay? But if you're in fear, you're going to get more fear. You're going to get more lack. You're going to really continue in a void, right? I mean, I'll talk more about this void now, that this emptiness, this perceived emptiness that I cannot fill my own cup. And this is invisible, it's unconscious. You're not going to meet somebody and they're going to say to you, hi, I have an ego disturbance and I cannot fill my own cup on my own. And contentment is impossible. Contentment and fulfillment are impossible for me. So I'm going to suck off of you, right? That doesn't work that way. It's unconscious, right? These people that suffer, that do not, a lot of times they are addicts to something, right? They never outgrow the self-centered child. And it's a refusal of this acceptance that we're talking about. So the resentment, whether it's resentment or not, it's self-obsession. and it's almost a self-obsession. They adore their own insanity, right? So they're not going to come up to you and be like, hi, we just met on a dating app and I'm insane. No, it's gonna show up later when their wants and needs become demands on you, and you meeting these wants and demands, like cutting yourself off from friendships, in order to make this person feel content. Those kinds of things, they only make it worse, right? That's very controlling behavior of an internal unperceived void in a person, that person needs to learn still how to fulfill their own self-acceptance, their own glory, kingdom and power, right? Of their connection with spirit, their connection with the invisible spiritual realm that is always carrying them, supporting them, loving them, guiding them in this lifetime. If you're still alive, you have a very strong, powerful, spiritual focal point. The spiritual realm is focused on you. I mean, take that into account. Even though when you're not focused on the spiritual realm, remember the spiritual realm is, you are a focal point of spiritual energy through your heartbeat, through your breath, through your living organism magnetized to this planet right now. And I know I get a little woo-woo, but I want to remind you that is always happening. Our spiritual nature, we might drive around in metal vehicles, right? But we are divinely protected source beings, that we're always connected to a spiritual focal point. It's always desiring our highest and greatest good. But when we get in the intellect, when we get into this believing that there's a void in us, right? The death is our ultimate eternal life, right? That's a very dangerous mindset to play around in. And it's one that is pervasive in our culture, right? One of secrecy, one of like one up, one down. I'm better than you because I'm part of this club. There's lots of different, or part of this, this league, for example, right? That we're really all human. We're really all, and yeah, you can look at money as a power source. I understand money better than a lot of people, let's put it that way. And I understand that money is a power source, but money does not come from people, places, or things. It comes from spiritual substance. And if you're curious about that, I would love to talk more. This I have a course on that's coming out, about money, but I'm not going to go into that in this live. But if you want to work on your money mindset, by all means, drop me a comment, hit me up on socials, through here, and we'll definitely hop on a call. So, but going back to understanding that this emptiness inside, right? This mindset that's around in the world of resentment, anger, and fear reactions. I might look like an adult to you, but my reactions are childish, right? My reactions are one of lack, self-centeredness. Everything's in it for me. Everyone's going to take everything from me if I don't hide all my money and put it away and not share with anyone, those kinds of things, right? That's a very kindergarten, preschool mindset, that mine. It's like children on the toddlers in the playground saying, mine, that's mine, right? And understanding, no, it's sharing. Sharing is what gives us the true wealth and the glory and the power and the kingdom of true contentment, is from our ability and our mindset to give, right? Because I've worked with very wealthy people that have a broke mindset, right? Because it's a brokenness within in their heart, and it's a disconnection, right? We're disconnected from our heart, from the giving nature, from the supply of offering, humanity a way out, and through money, for example. So a lot of reactivity that you're going to experience in people or in ourselves, right? I used to be this way, is a reactivity of anger. And whether it's anger out at, the world, and someone's having a very intense reaction, like when you're out and about in public, or at home when they're taking their anger out on themselves, they're acting out in an eating disorder, they're gambling online when they don't have any money, or they're drinking too much of substances that are not healthy for them, right? And so it's a reaction to denial of their own reality, right? It's a reaction. That anger can be internalized or it can be externalized. And if it's someone's externalizing their anger at you, really shield up, right? Really understand that love is a shield for you, right? This faith, this acceptance, faith is next, but acceptance, love, and faith are really what is the counteraction to fear. If someone's having a strong fear response in you, they're acting out in anger, they're telling you can't do it, those kinds of things. They're in their own intellect, their own mindset of discouragement, right? That is their projection of how they are projecting their life and their reality out into the world, and what is possible for them is probably very low, really, because they need other people to get them where they want to go, which is a very powerful mindset. I'm building a team, I'm building a network, but I don't see people as offering me anything to fill a void in me. I know where my void is filled, right? There is no void, for one, but my cup is overflowing with the mindset that I am spiritually connected, I'm spiritually destined. My birthright is from my heart's desires, and I am in that vision. I am in that pathway of one of faith, love, abundance, all of those things. But when you run into somebody that's in fear and lack, they're going to pull you toward that fear and lack, that, hey, death is where it's at, man. Death is eternal life. And that's not true. Eternal life is vibrating in you right now, in this right now moment. And it's up to you to step into this faith-based system but what is going to come to me is through what I believe is possible for myself. And that is faith right there. It's believing in the seen, that it's believing in the unseen, right? And believing in vision, believing in prosperity, that it's coming from ourselves, creating a vision board, writing down our goals, attaching our emotions to financial goals. Like, I'm gonna build this business with Katharine, for example, so I can get out of debt, right? There are ways to get ourselves out of debt. It's just getting ourselves, our own mindset out of our own way, and saying, okay, I'm going to try this, just a mustard seed of faith into thinking that maybe I can change, maybe I can attract prosperity into my life, and not fear of the world, fear of the future, fear of the uncertainty that's going to cause me to act out in an addiction, to sell myself short, to beat myself up. That's going to activate an inner ego disturbance that is going to reinforce that I can't have what I want, that I'm not capable in this lifetime, right? And so that we're not living up to the demands of other people, of a culture that says, hey, you should just be born into this fancy car. And that way you go out and get a car, and it's too much, you can't afford it, right? But hey, you're driving this fancy car, but internally, you know that you don't feel like you're worthy of it, right? You don't feel that. And so you're going to act out in ways that are self-destructive. Okay. And so you can stop that mindset, that you can stop that fear mindset, that you need to, be vulgar, sell yourself short, right? Look at sex as something that is just flesh, and is just for the corporal, moment, that I'm going to get my fix from having sex with somebody, instead of understanding that sex is a very powerful source of dopamine and success, okay? And channeling that desire and being honest around our sexual intentions can really give us a financial freedom that is beyond our wildest dreams. And I'm not the first to talk about this. Napoleon Hill talks about this in his books. If you want to know book recommendations, meditation recommendations, homework recommendations, hit me up and I will help you with your mindset around sex and money. So understanding that it's freedom from addiction, freedom from self-obsession, freedom from self-centeredness is what faith is. Faith-based living is really believing in ourselves from an internal dialogue, from an internal affirmation, that our affirmations, right, are what manifests in our outer reality, what we are capable of, what we are available for, what we desire in this lifetime, is really a faith-based belief system. Okay. And I'm not talking about having faith in one particular belief system. I'm available. We work with all belief systems here in my coaching, right? What I'm talking about more is about our issues with the issues, right? The issues with our reality, right? And what is keeping us stuck? What is keeping us from transforming into the being and the becoming, right? Into who we want to be in this lifetime. A confident human, a human that is enjoying life, right? Is feeling a full range of emotion, has a healthy and loving relationship with a partner, is doing the best, taking the best on for their children, right? We're not projecting negative fear into our children. We believe in their own success. And sometimes my clients, they come from backgrounds where they're not coming from caregiving environments where they were projected onto, like, hey, you're the best, you can do it, you believe in yourself, everything's possible for you, right? Because there's low self-esteem, there's compliance. These are different patterns of codependency, right? That we are compliant to. Our loyalty lies in suffering. Our loyalty is actually keeps us be feeling loved in a mindset of lack. And if we break away from this, Katharine, if we go into this faith-based living, dude, we're gonna have to, really reinvent our own circle of crabs in a bucket, right? If you're a crab in a bucket and you try to get out, what are the other crabs gonna do? They're gonna pull you back in. So you want to really be in an environment, right, of people that are pouring into you, and loving on you and wanting the best for you, because that is where your foundation is. Your foundation is in the people that you surround yourself with as well, that are pouring into your cup, right? Not only faith, but also, and really being able to learn how to shield yourself from from fulfilling the contentment and the fulfillment in other people. You want to be around people that are already fulfilled, that are already content in their own lives, right? It's not our responsibility to make sure that other people, obviously if it's our children, that's different, because they're developmentally developing, right? Or if we have someone that is struggling with a mental illness, there's lots of different scenarios. It's complicated. I'm not saying a one size fits all, but I'm just saying in your peer group and your significant relationships, right? Really surrounding yourself with people that empower your faith, that are of your own mindset, that want the best, highest, and greatest good for you. So I'm so glad you joined me today. I'm so grateful for your eyeballs and your attention and your mindset. And I'm just so excited to hear what great things you're going to do. So reach out to us, drop a comment, follow me on social media. And I just cannot wait to share this life experience with you, bringing you and bringing us into our highest and greatest good. So thanks again, and take a deep breath. And just asking and allowing and receiving this mindset of faith in this right now here moment. That we live and breathe and our heartbeat pounds to the rhythm of our planet. And that our faith is actualized in our life, in our conversations, with ourselves, with the spiritual realm, and also with the other humans in our lives and animals in our lives. Taking one more deep breath in and just really feeling the faith dropping down from the top of our crown, the top of our head, coming down our neck, down our spine, each and every vertebrae, through our nervous system into our tailbone, down through our bones and our legs, down into our toes. Woo! Feel the high vibration of spiritual life. Breathing in and out of our body. So namaste. I send so much gratitude to you, and I hope you have a glorious, grand, and loving day.